Hi, in this video I want to teach you how to make this boot cuff. They're very easy to make. They are all done a crochet, and here is the list of material you're going to need to make them. For this pair of boot cuff, the yarn I'm going to use is from Loops and Thread Impeccable. It's soft rose, and this ball have 180 grams, but I don't want to use not even half of this for them. It's medium 4 and 100% acrylic. The accent yarn that I'm going to use is these eyelashes here. Is pink and metallic. This is the same yarn that I use for my scarf with the hood, and I decided to do this color, that way it could be part of the set. And the crochet hook that I'm gonna use is a 5mm, and you're gonna need tapestry needle to lose the tails and scissors. We're gonna start with this part here. This is the part that go inside the boot. You don't wanna see this. You're gonna see from here up, and I really like the way it looks. I need to buy a yarn like this one, but in gold, because my older daughter want one like that, but with gold color. Okay, I did my slip knot, and now I'm gonna chain 8 plus 1. That will be 9 chain. Now I'm gonna come to the second chain from the hook, and I'm gonna make a single crochet, and I'm gonna do a single crochet on top of each chain for a total of 8 single crochet. If you want this part to be longer, you can do more chain. If you want it shorter, you just do less chain. And 8. Now you're going to chain 1, turn your work around, and you're going to come here and you look, you have one front and one back strand. You're going to go to the back one and just right to the first one here under the chain there. You're going to go and do your single crochet, but just in the back. And this is row number 2. Like this you're going to work until you have the desired width. For mine, I did 34 rows. Remember, not everybody have their legs or the cuff the same width, so you have to measure if you're making for yourself or the person that you're making this for. And this is stretch, so that's why this design it worked perfectly for this. Okay, chain 1, turn your work around. Again, you see this one here is the first one, and you're going to continue with those 8 for 34 rows, or the amount of row that you need to make for yours. You can make these 2 for a little girl. So I'm going to continue doing this off camera. Something that I forgot to mention, if you're making this the same design as mine on the top, you have to make this multiple of 2. That's why I'm making 34. So you can make 36, 38, or you can make 32, 30, 28, and like that, you know. Because the design that I made here is my star anise, and it's multiple of 2. This is what we're gonna do now. After you finish your piece, we're gonna attach them together, and if you look, it don't look like you have a seam there. They look exactly the same. I only know that it's there because of this here, the chain at the stitch in the top. Here I finished row number 34, and I'm gonna chain 1, and I'm gonna put my 2 pieces together like this, and I'm gonna pass here you will see you have just 2 strands of yarn. You're going to pass it through the back of this one, and then here you're only going to have one, and you're going to pass it through that one, pull through and do a slip stitch, pass it through the back of this one and that only one on the other side, and a slip stitch. Like that you're going to continue all the way to the end. Here I finished mine. I'm going to turn my work around, and you don't see the seam there. It looks really nice. Now you're going to chain 1, and if you did the same amount that I did for mine, my 34, you will do 34 single crochet all the way around. If you did less, you will do less single crochet. You have to do the same amount of row, you have to do it of single crochet all the way around. There will be 1 single crochet for every row of single crochet. You're going to finish here with a slip stitch. Here I'm going to finish with a slip stitch, and I finished that row of single crochet. Now we're going to start with the design. Now we're going to start the design of the stitch. So we're going to chain 3, wrapping yarn the hook, and then we're going to go to that first single crochet, pass the yarn through. We have 3 loops, wrapping yarn the hook, we have 4 loops. You're going to skip the next chain and you're going to go to the next one, and you're going to pass your yarn, and you have 5 loops. You're going to wrap your yarn the hook and pass it through all those 5 loops. You're going to chain 1 to close that stitch and 1 chain for separation. You just wrap your yarn the hook again. You're going to come here to the last space that you work the stitch before, and that chain and that single crochet. You're going to pass it through. You have 3 loops, wrap your yarn the hook, you have 4. Skip that chain, go to the next one, or that chain or that single crochet, go to the next single crochet. You have 5 loops, and you close it with a chain and chain 1. Like that is the design of the stitch. Again, you wrap your yarn the hook, you come to the last single crochet that you work, pass your hook, you have 3 loops, wrap your yarn the hook, you have 4. Skip the next one and go to the next one, pass it through, you have 5 loops, and then you pass it through 5, close that one with a chain and chain 1 for separation. You're going to continue doing this all the way around, and I will show you what to do here, but I'm going to show you one more time. You just wrap your yarn the hook, you have 2 loops, you come to that single crochet that you did the last stitch, you pass it through, you have 3 loops, wrap your yarn the hook, you have 4. Skip the next single crochet and go to the next one, and pass it through. You have 5 loops, wrap your yarn the hook and pass it through all those 5, close it with a chain and chain 1 for separation. Here I did the last one, and I have 16 of these little groups, and now here I'm going to cut 1 and 2, and in that number 2 I'm going to do a slip stitch. Now I'm going to chain 3, wrap your yarn the hook. Now we're going to come here and top of the first stitch here, and we're going to pass the yarn through. We have 3 loops, wrap your yarn the hook. We're going to come on top of the next stitch like that, and we're going to close it with a chain 1 and 1 chain for separation. Right now in this one here, in this top, we are working in that chain that we did to close the stitch, and we making again that chain for separation. Wrap your yarn the hook, come to the same space like that, grab your yarn the hook, come to the next one, right on top of the next stitch, and you do the next one. Like that you're going to continue all the way around, and this is okay that look like this, because when we finish this row it will look straight. Here I finished the last stitch, but the separation is too big, and what we're going to do there is we're going to wrap yarn the hook. We have 2 loops, and come here, pull it through, and we're going to do a half double crochet. We're going to close it with a chain, and we're going to count 1, 2, and then the third one we're going to do a slip stitch like that. You're going to repeat those 2 rows 3 more times for a total of 5. That's how many rows of the design I gave to mine. You can give it more, you can give it less. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and after we put this in the top. This, the third row is like the first one, the fourth row will be like the second, and the fifth row will be like the first one. So here you're going to chain 3, wrapping around the hook, and this time we're going to come here. Here was in the single crochet, here going to be in that stitch where we did the slip stitch. You have 3 loops, wrapping around the hook. You go on top of the first design or stitch, and passing it through. You have 5 loops and close that stitch and chain 1. You see, this one is in exactly the same space that this one is here. Okay, so you're going to continue until you have 5 rows. This is very easy to make and very fast. In 1 hour you will have the set done. Okay, I wanted to show you one more time. We're going to finish this row number 3 with a stitch. We're going to close that one with a chain and chain 1 for separation. Count 1, 2, and the second one we do a slip stitch. Now you chain 1, 2, and 3. You're going to come here and in top of the first stitch, and that chain that we do to close the 5 loops is the one we are working. And go to the next one, close with a chain and chain 1 for separation. You see this one, it looks exactly like row number 3 again. And you're going to finish row number 3 with the half double crochet. You close the half double crochet and finish here in the second chain, and then you'll repeat this one and you'll have done this part, and then we're going to use the other yarn. Here I did my last stitch and I did one slip stitch in the second chain. I'm going to chain 1, cut the yarn, and I'm going to start working with this. If you don't have this type of yarn and you want to leave it like this, you can leave it just like this, or you can do a peacock stitch on the top, or a crab stitch, or whatever stitch you want to do to finish the top. But for mine, I'm going to use this. Now we're going to work with this yarn, and I pull the strand from the inside and the one from the outside. That way I do a double. And I'm going to do a slip knot. I'm going to pass my yarn through. Pull a little. Now we're not going to work from the outside, the right side in. We're going to work from the wrong side out. I'm going to pass it through here, pull my yarn through, and I'm going to chain 2. Now we're going to do 1 row of half double crochet, and I'm going to grab the 3 tail to loose at the same time, and you're going to come here in the chain space, and you're going to do a half double crochet. Now you're going to wrap around the hook, and you're going to go in the chain that you close the stitch, and you're going to do a half double crochet. Now in the chain in between that you did to separate the stitch, you do 1 and 1 in the top of the stitch. Like that, you're going to continue all the way around. You're going to do a slip stitch here, chain 1, cut the yarn, and loose the tail. If you look here, you don't hardly see any of the lashes here of the yarn, but if you look in the outside, you will have them all in that side. That's why I'm working from the inside out. See, you have them all in this side here, and that's what we want. So I'm going to continue all the way around, and I will lose that tail and the other one in there, and then you have to make 2 of these. Well, here is the end result, and I just love them. I'm going to put them on today to go to Michael's to buy some yarn on sale. They're beautiful. Well, I hope you guys like it, and give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you give it a try and want to send me some picture, you can send them in one of my Facebook page. I have 2, Ruby Stedman, and the other one is Ruby Stedman Crochet y Manualidades. That E is a Y, Manualidades. Well, have a beautiful day. Bye.